Good morning. My name is Bridgette Escobedo. I am the elections administrator here in Williamson County. I began my career in 2007 in Bastrop County. I was the elections administrator there until the fall of 2019. In the fall of 2019, I moved to Travis County, where I was the director of elections for 4 years under the county clerk's office. And I became the elections administrator here in January of 2024. So I'm very happy to be here. This is a great county to work for. I'm very, very proud to be here. The elections department is responsible for adhering to all state, federal, local laws. We are responsible for voter outreach and registration, hiring election workers, recruiting polling locations, delivering equipment and supplies, and counting all of the ballots. Right now in Williamson County, we have 442,342 registered voters. Last year in 2024, we had 5 elections back to back, so we were very, very busy in 2024. In the November presidential election, we had a total of 311,074 ballots cast. In our office, we have 16 full-time employees and 3 part-time employees. And we wanted to highlight the fact that we answered 10,563 phone calls from the public. So we're a very small but mighty office. We conduct elections for over 265 entities, ranging from cities to schools, ESDs, MUDs, library districts. We do it all. In 2024, like I said, we had a very, very busy year. We had, for the November election, we trained all of our election workers here in this room. We had 83 training hours. So basically over 2 weeks, we trained all of our election workers. For the November election, during early voting, we employed 373 people, and on election day, 610, and we trained all of them. And they did a fantastic job out in the polling locations. How many of you are volunteer deputy registrars right now? None? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what that is. Our office is responsible for, one of the programs that our office is responsible for is the volunteer deputy registrar, and what we call it a VDR for short. So I'll use that term, VDR. To become a VDR, all you have to do is attend a training, a very short training. And then you'll have to present your certificate to our office. And what a volunteer deputy registrar VDR is responsible for is registering voters. You are responsible for distributing the voter registration application, reviewing it to make sure that it's accurate, and then turning it into our office within 5 business days. By the numbers, so in Wilco, and it's a 2-year appointment, and from the 2023 to 2024 cycle, we had over 890 volunteer deputy registrars in our county. So far for this year, we have 258. So I'm looking forward to all of you signing up to be a volunteer deputy registrar so we can increase that number. So in the 2024 fiscal year, we did increase our registration numbers. We have about over 700,000 people in the county, but we only have 442,000 registered voters. So you see we have some ground to make up there. Of course, the goal is always to have 100% registration in the county, and that's what we're striving for. Last year in 2024, we registered 45,262 new registrations, which was the most in the department's history. So that was very successful for us last year. When you become a VDR, you don't have to just become a VDR in Williamson County. You can become a VDR in other counties. You get your certificate that we issue you, and you go to surrounding counties, and you can become a volunteer deputy registrar there as well. So you'll be able to register people throughout the state of Texas. The most important thing that you're looking for when you become a VDR are these 2 highlighted sections here. We have to make sure that our voters are over the age of 18 and they are U.S. citizens. My office is also responsible for voter list maintenance. So we are working every single day to make sure that we have the most accurate, up-to-date voter rolls. And we do that by several different functions. We do that through the voter registration certificates that we send out every 2 years. So right now you have a yellow certificate. At the beginning of next year, you will have a different color, either blue or orange. So we send that every 2 years. You'll get a new card. If it comes back to us in the mail as undeliverable for some reason, we send a confirmation card. And what a confirmation is, just confirming your address. Have you moved? Do you still live here? Did the post office make a mistake? We also update our voter registration rules through jury summons. So if you get a jury summons and you are trying to get out of jury duty and you say that you are not a U.S. citizen, that information gets sent to our office for us to verify that. And a lot of times people are checking that box because they don't want to do jury duty. So our office acts as a backup. We send a card out to, did you really mean to say that? Or are you really not a U.S. citizen? And then we handle that appropriately. We also, at every election, we ask that question: are you still residing at the same address? How many of you went to vote and got asked that question? We have to ask that by law. And if you say that you've moved, we capture that information and we update it in our voter registration rolls. We do receive compensation from the Texas Secretary of State's office to maintain our voter registration rolls, so it's really important that we have accurate rolls. We have to adhere to all of the rules that are set forth by the Secretary of State's office. And here are some of the different qualifications. 25 cents for every new registration, 40 cents every time we cancel a registration, and 40 cents anytime we update someone's information. Which it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you times the difference that we make, we actually generate a lot of revenue that way. And so for fiscal year 24, we generated over $30,000, which we receive in a special account here in the county, and we use that money to offset the cost of our voter registration efforts. So it helps us buy new computers for our voter registration team, hire temps. Like, for example, during the presidential election, we were inundated with all of these new registrations, and our little staff wasn't able to keep up with that, so we hired temporary workers to come in and help us do some data entry. At this time, I'm going to introduce you to Kristine Heimerman. She is our Deputy Elections Administrator, and she's going to tell you what she's responsible for here in our office.
And today I kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I do, but what actually stirred me to begin with in creating this presentation was a question that I am asked quite frequently, and that is, what are you doing now that the presidential's over? Right? So that's a question that is asked to me quite frequently, and I always think to myself, I'm like, how can I answer this? And the next question comes up and they say, so are you on a sabbatical until the next presidential? Like, what are y'all doing right now? So it made me think about how individuals, voters, when they go to a polling location, just like you, how many of you voted this recent election? Wonderful, excellent. How many of you voted in November? Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So a lot of times, even for myself, prior to working for the elections department, I always just thought, I drive to my polling location, I show my ID, I get a ballot, I make my selections, I cast it, and I'm done. And that's it. That's it. And I never really thought about what actually goes into an election. All the people, everything that goes into actually getting the equipment there, staffing, actually having a physical location to go to vote. All of those things just never dawned on me, the amount of work that goes into every single one of y'all's opportunity to go and vote, to your citizen right. Okay, so what I want to talk about is the making of an election. So successful elections happen because of dedicated people. So these are some quotes that I'd like you to really think about, because every election is determined by the people who show up. And a lot of times you think about that as the voters, right? Because the voters are the ones that ultimately determine who's going to be in office, what changes are done. But when you think about it, it's the people that's also facilitating. It's all the facets that actually go into an election that make it successful. Okay? Democracy is based upon the conviction that there are extraordinary possibilities in ordinary people. Well, look around this room right now. People just like you, people just like me, ordinary folk are the people that actually bring about elections. They are the ones that are working in your polling locations when you show up, smiling, welcoming you into the polls, assist you if you need to cast your vote so that you have that opportunity. And these here, I have our 4 teams right now, our divisions within our elections department. And we're made up of the voter registration team, which is what Bridgette talked about a little bit. Everything that we handle, everything concerning registering voters, the VDRs, etc. Then we have our voting systems team. That team is responsible for actually creating the ballots. So when you actually get your ballot and you go to the ballot marking device and you're making your selections, everything that's there, that's programmed in by our voting systems team. They're the ones that actually create that. And they work with the entities who are contracting with us, the 200, let me see here, what was that number? 265 entities. They work with those entities to create the language that you see on your ballots. Then we have our field team and our training team. Those are the ones, we call them field team because those are the ones that are out on the roads. So previously for Williamson County, we have had most elections, the larger elections, we've had 65 polling locations. Well, after recent legislative changes, we were required to have half of our voting precincts. So we have 164 voting precincts currently in Williamson County. So we were required to bring our polling locations up to 82. Now, how many of you enjoy receiving cold calls? Yeah, it's not your favorite thing. Well, guess what? That's what our team had to do. Our team has to go and cold call possible potential locations that could serve as a polling location for all of you. And then we might get, no, I don't want to be a polling location, hang up. So then what do? Then we start sending our team out and we drive around. Sometimes we spend our weekends. I loaded up my family in the car over the weekends and we were driving all over Williamson County to scout out potential locations that could bring us up to that legal requirement of 82 polling locations. And I am so happy to say that if you voted in November, that was the first time we were actually compliant. And we got to that 82. It was a challenge, but we got there. We got there. But you got those 82, now what? You got the building, what do you have to do next? You have to, yes, what did you say? People. The people. You have to find the people. And Bridgette mentioned we had, let me see here if I can remember that, for early voting, 373 people. 373 people that needed to be available from the start to the close of the polls every single day of early voting. Now, I don't know about you, but you have lives, right? Everybody has doctor's appointments, they've got kids, they've got jobs, they've got vacations. All 373 people, those schedules had to combine in order for us to successfully staff those polling locations so that you, the voters, could walk in at any time that you had available to cast your vote. And then for election day, we had to find 610 individuals that were willing to work those 82 locations spread about Williamson County. So when you think about that, this job of the elections is not a small one. It's really not. We are a small staff, yes, but it really takes a community coming together to support the elections department out in the field, because us 20 people in our office are not able to service the 400,000 current registered voters of Williamson County and the potential growth, hopefully we're hoping, that we can continue to meet that same as our population grows because people fall in love with this county and they want to move. We hope that our voter registration numbers goes up. Well, we need y'all. We need people to staff those polling locations. Yes, sir.
How many people do you need to get 373?
I'm sorry?
How many people do you need to get 373?
Well, I will tell you, in November, honestly, we had about 2 to 3 people that were calling in order to staff those, to reach out and get those number of people. Luckily, because since Bridgette joined our department, we were able to raise our number of employees. So that team has increased. So that we're lucky, I would say, although we do need more. So if you're looking for a job, I'm going to plug this later, okay? I'm going to talk about it at the end. We do have open positions, so check us out on our website. But that's really what we need. We need community. That's how elections gets done. So I want to talk a little bit about community engagement. So we have partnered with the Women League of Voters, the League of Women Voters, for the Williamson County chapter. And right before November, the last day to register, we had a drive-up event right outside our office. And what that allowed was for new individuals who were not registered to vote could come up. If they weren't able to get out of their vehicle, we would have our VDRs, which is what Bridgette covered earlier, would go to the vehicle and say, yes, are you needing assistance? And we would help you right there get registered so that come November, you were eligible to vote. Yes?
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been a BDR for both counties, and I know in Travis County they really push it hard.
Mm-hmm.
Williamson County has been lacking,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you. But I have not seen other organizations do voter registrations. Is there an issue with that, or a problem with that, or what's going on? And the second part is that do you go out to organizations to do voter registration training? Because I know they do it in Travis County
Mm-hmm.
a lot, and I've asked them before to an organization I belong to come out and do the training and then get registered.
Yes to all of your questions. So number one, over the summer, that is both mine and Bridgette's goal, okay? We want to have more community interactions. And since Bridgette has come on and become the elections administrator, she has implemented, I don't know if you saw that QR code at the very beginning. If you scan that, you can do the training online. However, we also have in-person training here in our office at least once a week. You can find that schedule again on our website. And then we also have virtual for individuals who are not able to. So we have actually done, I think within the last few months, we've done 2, what are they called? Sorority groups that contacted us and reached out and asked for private sessions. And we did, and we were training about, I want to say, close to 40 or 50 individuals in each one of those classes that became VDRs. So yes, to your point, we do. And I will say that, again, since Bridgette has come on, the VDR, the outreach, has grown substantially since previous leadership, I'll say. Okay?
I had one question.
Yes, sir.
Recently, last week, I went to get my driver's license
Uh-huh.
reviewed. And one of the things on it was asking, do you want us to send you a voter's registration? I said, well, they said, well, just check it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get another one, or?
No, sir. Once you're registered, you're good to go, okay? So unless you're moving or anything like that, then we might send you, which is what Bridgette was talking about, you might get a notice over a confirmation that you confirm in writing that, yes, you still live at this address, but outside of that, once you're registered, you're good to go.
Now, another question.
Yes.
You always send one in the mail saying you're in such and such a precinct
Mm-hmm.
and that. So, do you need to carry that? Because when you carry it with you, we don't need that. We have you already here.
Mm-hmm.
So you really don't need to bring that with you.
Yes, you're talking about your voter register,
Yeah.
your certificate. No, that is not needed when you go to vote. All you need is an identification. So your driver's license, a passport, something like that is. But it's also, if you ever want to, you can take your voter certificate with you to the polling location. But yes, as you said, they will tell you you don't need it. It's not necessary to vote. Any other questions?
Why do they send the voter registration cards then if they're not needed?
Yes, well, it's for you to know. everything that's within that will be on your ballot. So you know who your state representatives are, all that good stuff. Who represents you locally? Any other questions? Okay, so I want to talk about this, and I want to highlight this young lady, Andy Abbott. So she was the winner of our first ever I Voted sticker contest. So this idea came about over the summer. Bridgette and I had this discussion, and it was something that a lot of folks did not think we could do. And we looked at each other and we said, no, you know what, we're going to do it. We're going to push this, we're going to reach out, and that's what we did. We reached out to every superintendent, private school, public school, everybody that we could, that's here in Williamson County, and we opened up a contest for all middle schoolers living here in Williamson County. And we asked them to submit their designs for a sticker that would be used for the November 2024 election. And we had probably close to 100 submissions of kids all over Williamson County. And I will tell you, I am so lucky that I was not one of the judges, because when they were coming in, I was completely impressed with the talent, the young talent that lives right here within our county. So we had, I believe, 3 or 4 esteemed judges who have background in art or teaching that went through. They took some time, and they reviewed all of the designs, and Andy's was selected. So I do have some in the back if you want to look. I have the image of Andy's design, and then also our honorable mention. So the next thing that I want to showcase is our Elections Hero event. And one of the things that we wanted to do, because Bridgette had mentioned earlier on how many elections we had. Now, once you get involved in the elections, you will see that it is tiring, especially when it's one after another, after another, and after another. And that's how it was last year. We had 5 elections back to back to back. And again, those elections could not be successful without the people to make them successful. So at the end of November, after all the elections had completed, everything was good, we threw a Heroes event right here in this room to celebrate each one of our poll workers, the VDRs, anybody who contributed to making our election season, the entire 2024 year, a success. So we served refreshments. We had about, I would say, close to maybe 200 individuals. It was a come and go. But as you can see down here, even though it was a come and go, these folks, they love each other. They have friendships, they build friendships, whether they work together or maybe they haven't seen each other in a while. They come and they gather and they sat. And the event went on for, I want to say, close to 2-3 hours or so. But it was happy times. It was so happy, they were thankful, they were appreciative. But you know what? Ultimately, we were appreciative of them, because without them, we could not have had a successful election. So, you might be asking yourself this question, right? How can I get involved? How can you get involved? You can do just like I mentioned earlier. You can join us and become one of our poll workers. You can be a VDR, okay? So we are always looking for election workers. We are looking for central count workers, early voting, whatever your schedule is, let us know. You can email us at pollworkers@wilco.org. You can also visit our website, let's see here, wilcotx.gov. And then right under there, you'll look for poll workers. That's where you're going to get information about how you can create a poll worker profile, and then you can actually sign up to be a poll worker. And those are our pay rates currently. Hopefully, we can get those raised a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to give you a few seconds because I see some of y'all are taking pictures. Yes, sir, go ahead.
I did this in Louisiana for years, and I like doing it. So, can you pick where you want to be a poll worker? Like, I like to do there because I'm only, a tenth of a mile.
Yes, so that's one of the things that our poll worker coordinator, he does, or they do actually. They talk to you and they say, hey, do you have a preference? Because we all know, like, for example, you know, if you live in Austin, I'm sure you do not want to drive all the way out to Bartlett for a polling location to open that up at 7 a.m. on the dot. That's just, with traffic, that's not realistic. So if you say, hey, yes, I live in Round Rock. I'm looking for a polling location that's near Round Rock. We can make that work. Absolutely. Any other questions? Oh, yes.
Follow on, so are you making a commitment for all the elections for the year, or can you say,
No.
well, I can't really work these
Yes.
two,
Yes.
I can work those three?
Absolutely. You let us know your availability. That's how this works, okay? You let us know, and we work with that, okay? Anybody else? I thought, yes, sir.
Minimum required number of hours that you need to, you know, when you volunteer or whatnot?
So I will tell you, during early voting, we have shifts for this specific reason. Because again, a lot of individuals, like for myself, I have kids in school. So if I were working the polls, that would not be something that I would be able to do a 7 a.m. or really 6:30 p.m. until the polls close at 7. That's not something that I would be able to do consistently for the entire early voting. So that's why we created these shifts, to be able to accommodate people's lives. So yeah, you just let us know what your availability is, and we work with that. Anybody else? Yes?
I just wanted to say that both my parents were poll workers, and they did, you know, a bunch of the different elections this last year, and they really enjoyed it. So thank you for giving them. They wanted an opportunity just to do a little something and make a little extra money.
Yes.
But nothing that they had to commit to for
Yes.
like, each and every week for the 52 weeks out of the year.
Yes.
So they really both enjoyed that.
That's wonderful, and that's what we love to hear. That is what we're looking for. Yes, ma'am?
If you've read the Williamson County Sun, Brad Stutzman's
Yes.
I think that's something that
Yes, yes, and Brad is actually one of our star judges. He's worked for us for a long time. We call him Brad from GAD because that is where he normally is at Georgetown ISD Technology. Yes, absolutely. Any other questions? Okay. So again, becoming a poll worker, these are our upcoming dates here. We have a runoff election that's going to be happening here very shortly, May 27th through June 3rd, and the actual election day is Saturday, June 7th. And then of course we have our election coming up, the general election in November. Early voting starts October 20th, and election day is November 4th. So check your calendars, okay? And of course, these are our pay rates. And for some reason, if you did not get our website, you can also write down our phone number there. Give us a call. We can talk you through. We can tell you how to sign up to be a poll worker, how to be a VDR, all of that good stuff. Any questions for Bridgette and I?
Can you go back
Yes.
to that previous screen with the telephone number?
Yes, sir? Any other questions?
You know, you might mention, Kristine,
Yes.
in addition to wanting adults to work on election night, you have teens
That's
that
right.
come in and help work.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have young people that actually come in. Two things. We actually have student poll workers that work for us as well. And those are kiddos, high school kiddos that are interested in the election process. They want to learn. So they work with their parent and their principal. They fill out that paperwork, and they actually work at the polls. So you young people, you're interested? We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you on central count, just like Connie mentioned as well. Because when that equipment comes back from all of our judges, we need help. Because again, we're talking about 20 individuals that have to receive all of that equipment. So we could definitely use the help, okay? So if you've got kids, you've got grandkids, you've got a neighbor, friends, whoever who's looking, who's interested, send them our way, okay? Any other questions? All righty, I'm gonna turn it over to Connie.
Great, thank you so much.